The crew arrived 5 hours after the fire began and witnessed the 12 oil tanks ablaze, thick black smoke engulfing the entire area, and the destruction that the petrol fire had already caused to the Sitapura industrial area. The fire was started when a pipeline valve failed while petroleum was being transferred from an Indian oil terminal to another storage unit nearby. Experts agree that this tragedy was, in all likeliness, due to negligence. The toll so far? 12 deaths and more than 100 injured. Damage was reported up to 3 kilometers away from the fire, and 500,000 residents in a 5-kilometer radius have been moved to safer grounds. Reportedly, up to 10 million liters of fuel were burned at the site. Though the oil was contained and did not harm wildlife and ecosystems the way the infamous Exxon Valdez spill did, its environmental impact is huge. A massive amount of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrate dioxide have been emitted into the atmosphere due to this immense burning of carbon-rich fuel. The fire has sent $100 million worth of fuel and infrastructure up in flames. This waste of millions comes as especially painful during the global economic recession. In response to the disastrous fire, the Indian government has formed a 7-person committee comprised of oil industry heads, the State Secretary of Mining and Petroleum, and others to carry out a complete investigation of the disaster at Indian Oil. The committee will report on the cause of the fire, the way it was handled, and also make suggestions for ways to prevent such a tragedy in the future. Additionally, the government has gotten the National Institute of Disaster Management involved in evaluating the fire in order to prevent a repeat of this kind of catastrophe. Officials will also be assessing losses and checking nearby buildings for structural damage. Questions remain on who was responsible for the fire and why it couldn't have been controlled in its earliest stages. The local authorities, as well as the national government, will be investigating the failure to control the fire. Meanwhile, almost a week later, the fire still rages on, and we believe that much can be learned from this disaster.